Hello and welcome to Morning Brew on Labour Social. I'm Graham Hughes. It is Wednesday, the 13th of September 2023. Welcome to the show. Today we're going to be talking about the economy because the economy of the United Kingdom shrunk by 0.5%, which is massive. In July. Apparently it was the wet weather. The wet weather caused the economy to shrink, but we're not doing too well. Basically, this is threatening a recession. We're not seeing any rises in real-term pay, which has been below inflation for a while now. And the Tories have done an absolute shit show on our economy. And I'd like to talk about this a little bit more because the headline figure that you really need to have in your head is 3.09 trillion. That's where our economy reached in 2007. 3.09 trillion. 2007. That was 16 years ago. In 2022, last year, our GDP was worth 3.07 trillion. So it actually shrank in that period. Look, I know it goes up and down a little bit, but the reality is that our economy still hasn't recovered from the 2008 credit crunch. 2008. That was 15 years ago. And we still haven't recovered. Why? Because 13 of the last 15 years we've been run by Tories. We had austerity, which didn't work. Then we had Brexit, which was putting economic sanctions on ourselves. And then, obviously, COVID came along. But every other country in the world had to deal with that. And when I talk about the £1 trillion that Brexit has cost the United Kingdom, this is what I'm talking about. So the UK economy shrank by 0.5%. This came after 0.5% of growth in June. So that kind of just wiped itself out effectively. And services and construction sectors both declined by 0.5%, while production fell 0.7%. And when we hear these duplicitous, lying, scumbag Tory MPs saying, "Oh, we're going to join the CPTPP deal with these countries around the Pacific Ocean," and you're like, "How much is that going to give us? 0.08% growth of the economy." Okay, well, our economy just lost more than that in a month. In 1 month, it just shrank more than that. A lot more than that, because that's 0.5%, and you're talking about a 0.08% growth. Oh, by the way, and that's over many years. That's not just in a month or a year, even. That's over many. Wow. GDP is down 0.5%, services down 0.5%, production down 0.7%, and construction down 0.5%. Brian Ferguson, here's a couple of quid for the swear jar. Thank you very much. Where is the swear jar? I must have moved it. Oh, I can't find it. Oh. Where's someone's taken me swear jar? One of the kids might have. I think one of the kids has taken the swear jar. Okay, wasn't expecting that. Never mind. But thank you very much, Brian. I will put some quid in the swear jar when I get back. Anyway, so it's recession. It's what Jeremy Hunt dreams about. The way Braverman dreams of putting asylum seekers on a plane to Rwanda. That's quite an interesting point you've made there, Skylar, because there are some who have said that this is intentional. This is intentional. Like the fact that the Bank of England felt like the economy, they said it was overheating, it was growing too much, growing too fast or something. People were getting paid too much. The plebs were getting paid too much or something. I don't really know. I don't understand it myself. I don't understand how you can make an economy better by giving people less money. I think the opposite of that. Possibly because I'm an idiot, and I'm sure there's people out there who know more than me about economies who can say, "No, Graham, what you want is a minority, a tiny minority of very, very rich people, and everyone else have nothing. And that's how a good economy works." But I don't believe that. I believe that economy works by people spending money, and the more money they have individually, the more money they're going to spend, possibly on stuff they don't need. But the government and the Tory mindset, the Brexit mindset, is that you don't live Okay, you survive. That's all that's important to these people. That they can go and have all their sex parties, cocaine fueled orgies in Italy with KGB agents. They can do all that kind of stuff. You can't. Okay, you can just survive, and that's when you see 30p Lee Leanderthal saying things like, "You can live off 30p a day." No, you can survive perhaps off 30p a day. You won't survive very long though, because you won't get the full range of nutrients that you need. The standing charge for energy is going up to what, 25 pence, is it? Can't be 25 pence a day, because that'll be it is, isn't it? 25 pence a day. Oh my word. That's just abhorrent. To be able to have hot food, even if you don't use any energy, is going to be costing 25 pence a day going into winter. And that's a poll tax. Everyone has to pay the same, no matter how big your property is. I don't think that affects the standing charge. It's the standing charge. Anyway, I'm back on the Lemsip. honey and Lemsip. You'll be pleased to know. Can't shake this cold. Just can't shake it. I felt really sorry for Phil yesterday. He was doing the show. I was sitting there going, "Phil, if you want me to take it over," he's like, "No, it's fine. I'll keep going." But hopefully he'll be back to his old self tomorrow. For Morning Brew. You missed the in 10 years. Richard Brophy, yes, that's what I mean. In 10 years. They were talking about the Trans-Pacific trade deal. It's 0.08% over 10 years. We just lost 0.5% in a month. When we talk about the economy, I think a lot of people just switch off because A, it's boring, and 2, it's complicated. I mean, who wants to talk about boring, complicated stuff? But I'll make it really, really simple. I'll try and make it as simple as humanly possible. Back in the 90s, the economy was worth about 1.5 trillion. And then Labour are in power. And after 10 years of Labour government, they had doubled our GDP. They had doubled it. That's what Labour did, and got it up to 3 trillion. The Tories now, they're 3.09 trillion in 2007. Obviously, we had the credit crunch. The Tories last year, 3.07. And they're talking about growth. They're talking about having the fastest growing economy in the G7, or the G20, or the G100, or the GGs, the BGs. I don't know. Like, who are you? How are you working these numbers out? Are you just like literally going, "Oh, well, the economy picked up slightly in June, so we've got the fastest growing economy now"? What are they going to say now? What are they going to say? The economy is absolutely in the... I can't say the word that I want to say this early in the morning. It's in the place that it shouldn't be. It's in the sewer. Let's say it's in the sewer. Well, it's in the rivers now, isn't it? Thanks to the Tories. I mean, if you had gone into politics, do you remember the movie Brewster's Millions, where Richard Pryor, brilliant movie, he's got to lose $1 million in like a week, and if he does that, he gets $1 billion. It's something like that, and it's a very, very funny film. But he's trying to lose money. Like, he's trying, and he's got his mate with John Candy who keeps making him money. He's like, "Stop making me money, stop investing. I don't want any money. I'm trying to get rid of it." But one of the stipulations is he's not allowed to tell anyone that he's trying to get rid of his money, because he'll get more money if he gets rid of it all. And that's, if you went into government with the intention of destroying the British economy and destroying the British spirit as well, and I think this is a big thing. I said in my video yesterday, the Tory party is where hope goes to die. And I'm standing by that. I might get it on a t-shirt. I might get it on a flag. How about Brexit? Brexit, where hope goes to die. Because that's what it is. This Tory Brexit party. If they had gone into government with the intention of ruining everything, they couldn't have done a better job. Isn't that horrible? They've turned neighbour against neighbour, friend against friend, relative against relative. They've destroyed our economy. They've destroyed our standing in the world. They've destroyed our relationships with our neighbours. They've destroyed everything that was good. They have destroyed the environment. They have destroyed the countryside by their grouse shooting farms or whatever they're called, and they're pumping all the SHIT into the water courses. They've destroyed the seaside because it's full of shit. Oh, sorry, I just said it. Swear jar. They've destroyed all of these things. And there's got to be a point where they face a reckoning for what they've done. And I don't just mean electorally. I mean, these people should be put on trial. That's it. You know, you con the country. You cost the country £1 trillion. It's too easy. It's too easy just to say the word trillion. It doesn't get across just how massive a number £1 trillion is. It's an absolutely gargantuan number. You know, the sun is only 93 million miles away from the Earth. Okay, so £1 trillion is a million. It's a million, not 93 million. It's a million. So it's a number that is more than 100,000 times the distance between the Earth and the sun in terms of miles. That's how big £1 trillion is. I mean, it's a phenomenally big number, and I wish I had like a bigger word for it, so it sort of had more weight, because it sounds a bit too much like a million and a billion. But £1 trillion is another league entirely, and that's what these Tories have cost us. That's what Brexit has cost us. Johnny Copperhead, thank you very much for the £20 in the super chat there. Home Office are breaking the law. Lincolnshire Council, and this fits in what I'm saying about taking them all to court. Lincolnshire Council put a stop order in place to halt work at RAF Scrampton to create another Tory concentration camp. Tories just ignored it because they are the party of law and order. Well, this is it as well. You know, shoplifting is through the absolute roof under the Conservatives. I mean, if we look at the papers here, the year of the shoplifter, literally, that's the front page of the Mirror, right? Theft soar, but where are the prosecutions? We demand law change to stop epidemic. Send us pics and CCTV. We will publish them. I mean, this is what you're seeing now in the newspapers. They're talking about shoplifting. But let's look at rape. The fact that the rape statistics are just mind-blowing. The 99% of people who commit rape get away with it. They get away with it. It's been effectively decriminalised in Tory Britain. And you're just like, what the... These are the party of law and order. And they go, oh, we've done really well. Look at the crime stats. We've done really well. And you're like, hang on. Where's the fraud? You've taken fraud out of the crime stats and now it's gone down because you've not included fraud. Well, that's not really a crime, is it? People go to jail for it. Yeah, but it's not really I mean, come on. Oh my God. Skylar says, whatever they do to make us pip squeak, wealthy Hunt, Sunak and the rich peers won't be affected. Meanwhile, my standing charge is 44p a day. The unit charge has barely gone down. 44p a day. So how does 30p Lee think people can survive off 30p a day when people's standing charges for energy are 44p? I mean, come on. Oh my God. My standing charge is 59 pence a day. Oh my God. Sorry, Irene. The astronomical unit distance between the Earth and the Sun. Yeah. So a trillion miles would be over 100,000 astronomical units. Is that right? No, that's not right. 1,000. Hang on. 10,000. I'm no good at maths in my head while I'm trying to do a live show. Thank you very much, Gary, for saving me there with your £2 super chat. But yeah, the party of law and order, the party of the economy, the party, the Tory party, was always touted itself as the party that put pragmatism above idealism. Now I ask you, what was privatisation apart from idealism? The idea that the market will come to our rescue and save everyone and be really good. You know, these really posh, privately educated people who say things like, well, you see, the less tax we have, the more people give to charity, you know. Really? Really? The evidence does not bear that out. If you want to make rich people give money, you generally have to tax them, you know, threaten them with jail sentences, because otherwise you will not get any money out of them. It's like getting blood from a stone. Do you know anyone who's really rich? They usually, I'm not saying 100% of the time, but they're usually tight as a duck's arse. Just saying. The party for having a party at your expense, says Paul Ewing. Yeah, indeed. Trillion is a number with two distinct definitions. Well, there's a British trillion and an American trillion, but we're going with the American one at the moment. The short form rather than the long form. OVO electric standing charge is 52 pence per day. OVO gas is 27 pence a day. Oh my God. You know, Graham, it's very pragmatic when your goal is to funnel bribes on your bank accounts. Well, I guess so. Oh, I just hope the Tories are met with a dunking at the GE. Well, Lu 2D games. Yeah, I hope that happens. I really hope that happens. People talking about, oh, they hope there's going to be a coalition. I don't want a coalition. I want the Tories wiped out. I'm sorry. I want the Lib Dems to do really well in the next election. Yes, I want them to get 100 seats. I want them to take all of the Labour seats, or Tory seats, sorry, that Labour aren't interested in. And Labour have published a list of the seats that they're not seeing as a priority. They've actually published it, and the Lib Dems got it and went, great. So these are the ones that the Lib Dems are going to go after. Labour aren't going to put too many resources into those particular seats. And I hope that it works really well. I hope that the Tories get down to 150 MPs like what happened in 97. Or even better, get down to double digits or single digits. I don't think they'll go that far, but that could be massive. UBI within 20 years, do you think, Master Templar? Yes. Hey, listen, mate, if I have any say in it, yes. I'm trying to keep my powder dry at the moment in terms of going into politics. I don't really want to because it's horrible, but I'm doing my best at the moment to help Labour in a weird roundabout way, I guess, to win the next election, using the social media tools at our disposal. But once they are in, we want to be in a position where they'll listen to us. I mean, you watching this, and me and Phil and Supertankiii and Aid and Femi and all the people who, Mike Galsworthy, all these people who we've all worked together over the years fighting Brexit, and we want the Tories out, but we don't want what replaces the Tories to be Tory light. I don't think it will be. I honestly don't think it will be. I think that we're going to see big changes from the get-go, but the scale of the challenge that Labour faces when they get in, not least on the economy, is immense. And they are looking at the economy going, we want to do X, Y, Z, but because the Tories have throttled our economy for the last 13 years, have restricted our growth, they're the equivalent of bad parents who don't let their children out into the sunshine, so they're growing up with rickets. Yes, our economy has rickets thanks to the freaking Tories, and I'm hoping that this is going to be the case, that we get a say. And one of the things that I've mentioned a few times in the past, but this is important. There's two things that Labour have that the Tories don't. Forget about all the policies and personalities and all that kind of stuff. One is a level of scrutiny and therefore accountability that the Tories do not have. Because if Labour in any way, shape or form F up, they will be hauled over the coals immediately by the tabloid press, by the right-wing, rabid, Tory-loving press. 90% of it, which is Tory. So they can't afford to mess up, and if they do mess up, they can't just go, oh well, for the games or like Tory boys do, like Boris Johnson. No, they will have to take action immediately. People will lose the whip. People might get suspended. People might have to resign or get sacked immediately. So that's one thing. The other thing is accessibility. Like, I can't access the Tory party in any way, shape or form. Not that I'd want to, but I'm not a millionaire. They only listen to millionaires. Whereas Labour is made up not just of members, but also trade unions. And lots of people are members of trade unions. The trade union movement is actually growing at the moment, which is fantastic news. And Labour, one of the things they're going to do, which was announced by Angela Rayner yesterday, is change the rules for going on strike so it can be an electronic ballot, so you can vote online, because at the moment it's a paper ballot, and it's got to be 50% of the members voting for strikes action to happen before it can happen. This is a spoiler put in by the Tory party to stop people going on strike. In the same way that when you register a gun in America, it can't be electronic, it has to be on a little chitty of paper, which goes off to some vast warehouse in West Virginia that no one can ever access because it's so complicated. It's to stop people who have guns. It's to give people who murder people with guns a sporting chance to get away with it, I guess. But this benefits no one but the Tories. So Labour are in a position where they have to listen to their members more than the Tories do. They have to listen to the unions more than the Tories. Sorry, don't have to listen to the unions at all. They have to negotiate with the unions, get to a point where the unions aren't going to go on strike. which is something that, we had strikes during the last Labour government. They did happen. And it was generally, unions that weren't affiliated with Labour, but Labour still made great strides to try and stop any strikes from happening. You look at the sheer number of strikes we're having at the moment. We're going to have a position very soon where you've got the nurses, doctors, and the consultants all bloody going on strike at the same time. I mean, this is going to be horrific for the people of the United Kingdom. And I blame 100% the Tory party for this. Rachel Reese, thank you very much for the £5 super chat. Law and order, their laws putting us in order. We need to protest. Oh, wait, the new laws won't let us. Well, that's the thing. We were talking on Monday about, when I was talking to Supertankiii, we were talking about going to this march, the Rejoin March, a week on Sunday that Femi's helping organise. And I'm going to be there. And we were talking about like having a flag. I'd taken my Glastonbury flag, which says F***CK, the Tories, in nice friendly letters, Cooper. And my worry is I'll get arrested for that now. I'll literally get arrested for having that flag at a march. Be all right at Glastonbury. Get it on the BBC. It's very funny. Doesn't actually have a swear word on it. But I feel like now when you're having people arrested for being in London when the king is getting his new fancy hat installed, I'm a bit like, yeah, okay, mate. I love it when I get comments, by the way, in my video saying, take your hat off. Why are you wearing a hat indoors? I'm like, the king wears a hat indoors when he gets crowned. What's the fun wearing a hat? But yeah, it's my hat. I've been wearing a hat now. I've been wearing this particular brand of hat for 21 years now, and I'm not going to stop. But I would just like to say, be careful, Graham. Yes, Gary, exactly. A big, big thank you to all of you watching this and all of the people who have dropped in super chats. Because this week I managed to get a new pair of glasses. I'm really excited about because my old ones were scratched to hell. I could barely see out of them. I don't know if you ever noticed, but I was like always squinting during my videos because it's like, can't actually see what the auto cue is telling me to say. So hopefully the video quality will improve with my improved eyesight. So thank you so much to everyone who's chipped in to make Labour Social a success. We are now heading up to about 35,000 subscribers, which is just phenomenal. And it's getting to a point where hopefully it can really start to fly and we can start making the shows, more of the shows that I want to make, where we bring on other political commentators and other people on the left to talk about these issues and have a laugh at the same time. Because obviously, if we took this too seriously, we'll go mad. Do it anyway, martyrdom. Skylar likes my hat. Thank you. Thank you very much, Skylar. My mum likes my hat, and that's all that matters. Howard says, Andrew, agreed. Peter is my MP. I'm not sure which Peter. Someone needs to tell Eddie Izzard to back off in Brighton Pavilion Green. Work with other progressives and don't be greedy. Do you know, Howard, I was thinking about this when this happened. So what's happened is Caroline Lucas is standing down as MP in the next election. So the Greens are fielding another candidate in Brighton, which is the only Green seat. Now, Eddie Izzard has obviously got quite a high profile, is going to be running for Labour in that seat. And people were like, oh, that's a bit rude, isn't it? Like, Eddie Izzard could run anywhere. Why is Eddie running there? And I think it's because in the last few months, the Greens have gone after Labour more than they've gone after the Tories. And I think that Labour are trying to almost put the Greens back in their box, which I don't necessarily agree with, by the way. I like plurality. I can't say it. Plurality. I'm having mouth malfunction syndrome. But at the same time, I in a cut and thrust of politics kind of way, it's Labour going, well, if you are going to fight us rather than the Tories, well, we'll just hammer you in Brighton, which they might well do now because Caroline Lucas was a bit of a one-off. She was very, very popular. Not as many people know the new candidate who's going to be standing there. They don't know her as much as they knew Caroline. And I think that Eddie's got a good chance of getting in. And it would be quite entertaining to have Eddie as a comedian, a traveller, obviously, a transgender comedian, in the House of Commons. I think that'd be fantastic. Bring it on. Marathon runner as well. But yeah, I think it's just maybe a bit of Labour kind of swinging their weight around and saying, well, you keep doing attack ads on us. You keep propagating that myth that, Sunak and Starmer are two cheeks of the same arse and all that kind of thing, which is, that's music to the ears of conservatives, because that's what they want people to believe. The people who read the Mail, they equate Keir Starmer having a beer with the Tories stealing billions of pounds from the taxpayer and giving it to their mates of phony PPE that didn't work. They think that they're exactly the same on the scale of justice, because that's what they've been told by the Daily Mail. And if you look at the fact that they gave, 7 or 8 front page covers to the fact that Keir Starmer had a beer, and yet when it comes to the whole Partygate thing, which they said was nothing, it was nothing, who cares? And the lack of coverage of a lot of the PPE scandal that's gone on, you can sort of go, well, in their minds, they're like, oh, well, it must be a big deal because it was on the front cover of the newspaper every day for a week. And this mustn't be a big deal because it wasn't. So, yeah, we really, really could do without that narrative being told. But what I want to see, and this is something that I want to come back to, about the economy. This idiot letter that Greg Hands walks around with, and it's a joke. It was something that was written at the end of the last Labour administration. On the way out, they left a note saying there's no money, which was a joke, because obviously there was money, because our NHS continued to function. In fact, in 2010, it was voted the best operating healthcare system in the world. Wow, how that's fallen under the Tories. Schools continued to function. The army continued to get paid. The military, the Trident kept going. The roads were still there. There were still railways. I mean, it was a joke. It was, sorry, Albanians, no money left. Ha ha ha. It was a joke. But he goes around the TV studios and the radio, which is a bit weird because you can't see it on the radio, holding up this piece of paper going, look. So what Labour should do, get a piece of paper with a graph on it, and it goes, I don't know, 1992 to 2007. You show the economy picking up from 1 trillion to 3 trillion. And then just go straight line across from 3 trillion in 2007 to 3 trillion in 2022. And just hold that up. Every time, we're talking about the economy, talk about anything, talk about Brexit, just hold that up. Here's the graph. This is all you need to know. This is all you need to know. Our economy has not grown in 15, 16 years because of the Tory party. So when you're wondering where all your money's gone and why you can't afford to go on foreign holidays anymore, and why you can't afford a new car, and why you can't afford to buy a house, and why you can't afford to live, this is the reason why. Because the Tories have done an absolute number on our economy. Meanwhile, the economy of Denmark's doing all right. Norway is doing all right. Just Sweden, Finland, Germany. I know Germany is seeing problems now in their economy, but their economy is still $1 trillion bigger than ours. $1 trillion. We were on course to overtake Germany back in 2015, and then we decided to have a Brexit referendum. We all know what happened then. Was it that note that was left to Labour when Labour won? Was it in the note that was left to Labour when Labour was won from the Tories? I mean, that would be interesting, wouldn't it? Freckle Puny says, Eddie Adair reminded me of the rumour in the 90s that Stephen Fry and Hugh Laurie were going to stand as MPs. That would have been very interesting. Yeah. The no money left letter is a joker letter written by the Treasury as a tradition, regardless of party. Yeah. I know. It is absolutely ridiculous. And it's why I just... Bloody Tories. Indeed. I blame Lib Dems and Tories for weaponising a tradition, says Dave W. Well, yeah. And it's one of those things about the Lib Dems. Like, I want them to do well in the next election. I don't want them to steal seats that could go to Labour. I want Labour to do really well. I want the Lib Dems to do really well. When I think of my ideal in the next election, it's that the Lib Dems win enough seats to be the official opposition. Brilliant. The Tories get, 97 seats. The Lib Dems get 100. And that's it. The Lib Dems are the official opposition. The Tories are the third party. Or even better, the Tories get like 50 seats and the SNP get 60. And it's like, okay, you're now the fourth party you've got. You're the fourth biggest party in Westminster. Labour can be a holes to the Greens Experience Council meetings. Can be holes to the Greens. A-holes can be A-holes. Yeah, I know stakeholder map, and I think it goes both ways. That's what I was saying. I think that Labour were doing some kind of weird flex. It upsets me. I as long as it's not a Tory in that particular constituency, I'm happy. But I did like the fact that there was at least one Green MP in out of the 650 MPs in Parliament. One of them was a Green, at least one. Ed Davey is another Oxford PPE grad. He's also privately educated. Yeah, as of all party leaders, I think. Yeah, the SNP, the Tories. Keir Starmer went to a school that turned private while he was there, so he wasn't technically privately educated, but he was educated by teachers in a school that was a private school at that point. Not that he had to pay for it, but, obviously Rishi Sunak went to Winchester. Ed Davey was privately educated. The head of Reclaim, Loser Fox, he was the privately educated. Richard Tice, who's now the head of the Refug Party, he was privately educated. So, yeah. And the head of the Greens, I think that I can't get much information about the Greens. I know that the previous co-leaders of the Greens, I think both of them were privately educated. And Zach, what's his name? Zach, who's the deputy of the Greens, is that's going to annoy me. He's privately educated. So it just seems to be a thing. If you want to get into British politics, you've got to be pretty posh. Zach Green Party. Polanski. Zach Polanski. I met him. I did a Three Blokes in the Pub with him back in the day. If anyone wants to watch that. Anyway, so I'm going to get going now because it's 4 minutes past 10. I lost track of the time. So in short, the economy's in the shit and it's all the Tories' fault. Thank you for joining me. Don't forget that I will be appearing live on a panel with Supertankiii, Femi, and with Phil Moorhouse at the Labour Party conference. We're doing a fringe event. We're doing an event in the conference, which is just for conference ticket holders, but we are doing a fringe event which is open to anyone. It's the Camp and Fairness. It's £3 a ticket. But it is free if you are a Discord or a Patreon or a YouTube member of this channel or Phil's channel or anyone else's channel. We'll give you a code and you can get a ticket for free. So just let us know. So thank you very much. These details are in the description below. And I'm going to head over now to the Discord server for Morning Brew Extra. So if you'd like to join me for that, you are very welcome to do so. I'll be there for the next half an hour or so, floating around. So if there's any questions you've got about the live event or about Labour Social in general or about the economy or about how much we all hate the Tories, please feel free to join us. That is open to anyone who is a YouTube member or a patron of this channel. If you haven't got access yet, please let me know and I will get that sorted out. Right. Whew. That was a lot. Okay, so until next time, thank you very, very much. I'll be back at 12 o'clock for Prime Minister's Questions. Yes, another stress fest. Oh my God. I have to take some muscle relaxant before I watch that. Just calm me down. Get me blood pressure down a little bit. But yeah, 12 o'clock, Prime Minister's Questions here on Labour Social. Until then, thanks for watching. Hello, good evening, welcome, and goodbye.